Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And wondering whether this past week you've been swept up with emotional energy. So all of creation is releasing tons and tons of emotional energy, negative emotional energy that is clearing and healing and wanting to be healed now. So you don't have to be a sensitive soul to actually have been feeling it. There have been, riots around the world. There's, hurricanes. And of course, the news media does take great advantage of, these sorts of things too, by interjecting words that will hopefully incite more emotional content from you. Words like disastrous and monstrous and devastating and, whatever, right? So we do need to be mindful that the media is there to manipulate us. And obviously, I'm not talking about the reporters necessarily, whatever, but they are trained and taught to really get people to read their stuff, right? And we as a society have an addictive potential or an addictive tendency to want to get a hit, and that hit can be a stress hit, or a fear hit, or whatever that is. So we tend to gravitate to these news, TV shows or blogs or reports or something like that filled with these words. So I want you to be watchful of these words and to really make a decision consciously. Okay, do I want to feel in this energy or not? Does it rev me up? Does it make me feel alive? Does it make me feel important? And that's what it used to be for me. I used to feel important when I was stressed. So no wonder I kept making myself stressed, because I felt important. Like I was doing something awesome, And if I wasn't stressed, I would feel like, oh my gosh, somebody might think I'm lazy. You know what I mean? So just watch yourself and see. And even if you read some of these reports or listen to the news or decide to do that kind of thing, see if you can be a witness, step outside of that, and see if you can catch those trigger words that are trying to incite fear and anger or separation or whatever it is, and go, yep, there's that word. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Oh, well, there's another one. Yeah, it's a really good one, and just step aside and be able to almost enjoy the play of it, and then decide, well, you're not going to manipulate me, okay? Because I don't need to feel stressed or feared or fearful in order to feel real, in order to feel alive, in order to feel important, because you are already that. Right? You're already that. So you don't need this hit that the news media keeps, producing, and they produce it as long as people want it. So that's our responsibility. If we eat it up, they give us more of that, right? If we don't eat it up and we ignore it, then they're like, now what are we going to do? So all this emotional energy, what I got from Source last night was that we can transform it. So I asked, transform into what? So we can actually transform all this negative emotional energy that's releasing now into a different form. We can actually transform it into positive morphic fields. And I asked her, well, how do we do that? How do we do that aside from commanding that, using Topocan healing? Like, how do we do that? And the answer was stillness. And it seems to always boil down to stillness, that it's a natural way to transform and transmute energies into a different form, one that is more serving us than those that are not serving us. So it always boils down to the stillness. And I talk about this and why it's important, especially for sensitive souls, to really thrive in my brand new freebie called the Sensitive Soul Empowerment Guide. So you can actually get that at sensitivesoulguide.com. That's a little pretty link that goes right to that page where you can sign up to get a copy of that PDF. And in the guide, I share with you kind of the top 3 mistakes that sensitive souls make, really preventing them from enjoying their lives and fulfilling their purpose. So once you learn the mistakes, then you learn like what to do instead of that. And there are some really great resources in that guide. So that's absolutely free. sensitivesoulguide.com is the pretty link that you can go and get that guide. And please, please, please share it with everyone that you know, especially those that are sensitive souls that you think can benefit from it. Um, so, yes, we are all responsible. So if you're feeling chaotic, if you're feeling a lot of emotional energies, remember that is the collective that you're also feeling. And so don't take it on as yourself. Like, don't take it and assume that it's your stuff, right? Like, even I feel it, and I'm just trained to go, interesting. I'm feeling fearful. I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. Oh, interesting. So whose stuff is this? And then of course with Topic Healing, we can test whose stuff is it. But don't assume it's your stuff. But it is your responsibility to get into stillness as best you can to help transmute whatever it is you are feeling. And then so you can get back to you. You can get back to source. You can get back to that 0 point energy to manifest what you truly want. And don't necessarily feel bad that you're in a momentary state of fear, a momentary state of chaos or whatever. We're human. It happens. Not a big deal. If you judge it, then that becomes a problem. So let's not judge that and just let it be. So some announcements. There is just a little over 2 weeks left. Yeah, 2 weeks left before the Light Warrior Training Camp at Omega. And there's still some spots left for you to join me there. And I would absolutely love if you are interested in learning transformational telepathy, how to get out of conflict and get your way in a very positive way without necessarily manipulating people or, things like that. How to do remote healing using a prop, that's called Healing by Proxy Prop. And how to move and shift physical things with your mind. Of course, we start on baby steps, but it's really, really cool. So we are learning that as well. And then divine muscle testing, we're going to be learning that. And as well, the 6 different ways to clear and clean your energy field on a regular basis. It takes longer probably to teach it than it is for you to do it, but if you do this on a regular basis, then it's really going to help you have that clarity, have that confidence, feeling grounded in your everyday life, so you can, fulfill your mission, so you can feel good, so you can feel vitalized and energized and not so tired and draggy and anxious and overwhelmed, right? So those are some of the things that we are going to be working on. So this Light Warrior Training Camp is perfect for highly sensitive people that really want to turn that sensitivity that they have into a superpower. So truly harnessing your superpowers. And I don't know whether I'll be back at Omega next year doing this training camp. I absolutely love Omega. We'll see what the universe has in store. But like I said, we do have spots left. So if you're interested, now is the time to book it. It's lightwarriortrainingcamp.com for more information, and then you can book it right through the link on that page. So lightwarriortrainingcamp.com. Now, a couple of other announcements. On Monday's radio show is a pre-recorded interview with my friend Taylor Conroy. He is the CEO of the Idea Collective, and he actually is a coach for TEDx Talks, but we're not going to be talking about TEDx this week. That interview is a little later. This interview is so fascinating and part of the Spiritual Entrepreneur series, and I got to tell you, I mean, I cried, I could barely speak, I laughed. I mean, he just he is such a special person and one of the older millennials. And for those of you that have been following me for quite some time, you know that I have a sweet spot for all young people and millennials, especially because they're really here to change the world, in a huge way. We call them the second and third wave of volunteers. And he is an amazing person. And I wanted to share with you a guy's perspective, a sensitive soul male's perspective of how to not only survive, but to thrive as a sensitive soul and as a man in this society. So this is super important. So if you know anyone who is a guy who's sensitive, definitely turn them on to the show. If you're on my mailing list at KarenCan.com, we'll share with you the exact link to the show on Sunday night, and the show will air, the pre-record will air on Monday at 12 noon Eastern. If you can't make it, you can always click the link afterwards and get the replay of the show. So very, very important show. Had a super time interviewing Taylor. He was awesome. Okay, well, that is it for this week's Spiritual Medicine Digest. Until next time, lots of love. Bye for now.